back again, dear viewers, with our first special guest for today. The Public Authority for Applied Education and Training was founded. The Public Authority for Applied Education and Training is considered one of the most important governmental educational entities that graduates national competencies of to be proud of. More details about the Institute, especially about College of Business, we are so pleased to have with us today Professor Ahmed الحنيان, Dean College of Business, Associate Professor of IT and Computer Information Systems. So hello and good morning, Professor.
Hello, good morning.
It's really a pleasure to have you in our show today.
Yes, it's my pleasure also.
So, Doctor, today we're going to talk more about the program that were developed, and especially in the business sector. So, the Public Authority for Applied Education and Training approved several academic programs, as I mentioned, especially in the business. Can you please elaborate more about these programs, Professor?
Yes, thank you for bringing up this issue, which is really important nowadays,
yes,
especially that there are a lot of calls from top authorities in Kuwait is to develop curriculums and bring up new specifications and majors that can have graduates who can cope up with the newly developed economies in the world and specifically in Kuwait. This is according to the Kuwaiti vision of 2035.
yes.
That's why the College of Business Studies took this step and this issue into consideration and started to develop the programs.
Yes.
So we started by developing the accounting program,
Mm-hmm.
and the insurance, which is called risk management, and the banking, which is called now banking and financial institutions, and also the business major, which has now 5 majors, which is MIS and marketing and logistic management and human resource management, which means these are really areas of fields, and I'm talking about the technical diplomas. It's not like a bachelor degree, which is the degree, and the mandate of the public authority and the college is to provide laborers who can cope up and work really with the newly fresh workplace.
That's really great, Professor. Let's talk about. We are talking about here like 6 more subjects were developed, isn't it? Like as you mentioned, accounting and financial and much more. So, what is the goal? Let's say the purpose of developing those programs.
I just forgot to mention that there are 2 newly programs. What I just mentioned were programs that has been developed according to the real competencies that are needed.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is the Applied Statistics Diploma, which when I talk about statistics means data.
Okay.
When I talk about data means data science, means AI, artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
The importance of data nowadays to be analyzed to provide really decision makings and prediction. The other one is the cybersecurity diploma in cybersecurity, and I mentioned, we're here at the beginning of this program. You talk about the security and privacy and all the issues related to hacking and problems, identity thefts, and the problems related with securing our data and securing our information. So that's now the reason for doing this is because now we are into the new type of education. Let's say the era of 4th generation education.
Yes.
This era requires and needs us to develop our programs and curriculums. Otherwise, when you talk about the labor force now, the market, whether government and private,
yes,
you are talking about these entities requires fresh graduates that they acquire, and they have the hard skills, which is the majors, the specialities, and the soft skills. Now, a lot of things now, we go schools, we study topics and with memorization, and we do tests. Even if I get 100% percentage, but at the end of the day, I'm not ready for the job. which I'm missing what's called the soft skills.
That's really great, Professor. And as you mentioned, it's really important to have these two developed a program, cybercrime, as we mentioned at the beginning of the program, which is really important to compete the development for all around the world, and also the artificial intelligence, really two important programs that were developed. So how actually you developed these academic programs?
Yes, this is a very important question. Now, a lot of people say we developed a program, but when you ask them, did you follow any framework? Did you follow any methodology, or you just put bits and pieces and say, oh, this is a diploma or this is a bachelor degree program, which is really wrong. We developed these programs and also initiated a new programs based on academic program development framework. Okay. Which means we followed international steps in order to have these programs ready to be taught and for our students. The framework requires, number one, setting up the objectives. Why do we need these programs? Number two, to follow we do needs assessment. Who are these programs really acceptable? Is the labor market and the society requires specialities on those programs? So this requires a really thorough meetings and interviews and meeting up with this. Another thing is to follow some guidelines, like looking at the Kuwait vision, the mandate of the public authority, the society, cultural relations, the accreditation, international accreditation programs, and cultural relation with countries like around the country, whether GCC or international. The digitization that's happening nowadays, all these affect the way we develop these programs. Yes. And when you develop you should set up the learning outcomes for the program, and then each program has a lot of set of courses. Each course also you have to set up the learning outcomes and the objectives and the description and the way it should be taught. It's not like a course you go in and you study and you do exams. No, you have to specify the course, the objectives, the learning outcomes, and the methodology that is needed. How will I teach this course? Yes. All of that was followed by methodologies, well-known methodologies in educational sector.
That's amazing. So you did use the methodology for improving such programs, and as you mentioned, this name's academic program development. What else? Academic development?
Academic program development, which is AP. Yes.
So, did you use the educational model, Professor, for program development?
Yeah, that's a good question. Now, when you talk about education, unfortunately, a lot of schools and universities, colleges, they follow the traditional-based education. Yes. The traditional-based education, I mean, it does not work nowadays with the evolving labor market and evolving technologies that's happening and the requirements of the labor market. Yes. Now we live in the fourth generation education. This mandate us and force us to follow what is called outcome-based education model. Sometimes if it's too much training, it's called competency-based education model. Which is the traditional one? No, the traditional is traditional. Yes. This one is outcome-based education, yes. Which means when I provide a program and I teach the students, I should make sure that at the end, it's not just the certificate that they get after the diploma or the bachelor degree. No, I must make sure that whatever they studied, they are able to work. I make sure that they learn what I taught them by evidence, by evaluation. For example, I have a diploma in banking. Yes. The traditional way is just one-way communication, no critical thinking, no internship, no teamwork, collaboration, and no hands-on. So study, maybe he's do good in exams and gets the certificate. At the end of the day, goes to the workplace. He's not ready to work. He doesn't get the learning outcomes.
Yes.
But in that kind of education, I make sure that he goes to the work, he's ready. He's professionally ready, he's self-life learner, and he can collaborate with teams, and he can be professional in the job.
Wow, that's really amazing.
So that now any new educational model, any people try to run, this is not only for colleges. I'm calling for the Ministry of Education to follow this model even from the KG, because this model also help and concentrate on research. Even KG students, when they do something, they find the outcome of the research, what is wrong, what is not wrong, the collaboration, the presentation, the critical thinking. Now, when you talk about knowledge economy, you talk about new ideas to bring money.
Yes.
Now, without innovation, critical thinking, so the student is the center of the learning environment.
Exactly.
The traditional education is the instructor is the central of the learning environment. That's why you see the student just sitting there, listening and going home.
Yes, that's really great. That's really great news, actually, Professor, to have such a great system. We need that actually in our education. Not only, as you mentioned, for the applied, not only in the college, even starting from KG1, as you mentioned, until the high school. We are like students. Some of students is like robots, just only having fill in the page, fill in the exams, and then they just graduate with their certificate without knowing the value or the main purpose of their studies. And also when they enter their jobs, they get really lost. That's
exactly. Yeah, that's right.
So what is actually you are expecting from your student from such developed programs, Professor?
Now we are shifting to the new stage.
Yes.
Of having real new programs being developed. The next stage is to really train the instructors on how to use this kind of model into their teaching practices.
Yes.
This is number one. Number two, we should focus on less memorization, more hands-on. Evaluation system should be changed. Instead of 50% final exam, and 50% is exams and intimidation with a lot of exams. A lot of people miss exams. They cannot memorize what they studied. Now focusing on evaluation, the evaluation system should be changed in terms of hands-on, like project-based teaching, presentation, critical thinking, project, working outside, and small kind of quizzes instead of just sitting there. The student goes home and does not sleep at night, just ready to memorize. Memorization killing education.
Wow.
The new style and method of educational system should not be based on memorization. Should be based on hands-on critical thinking, presentation, teamwork, project-based, so they will have the knowledge and the know-how, the work. And that's why these people, when they graduate, is not only the subject matter they have gained, they have all the tools that they can become creative thinkers, innovative. When I say innovation, means entrepreneur. They become, they can run their small business. When I mean small business, creative small business that can bring money and employ other people. So now, one of the things that one of the graduates, I'm talking about the graduate attributes. You said, what do you expect from students? When we developed these programs, we followed the academic program framework, right?
Yes.
We focus on something called graduate attributes. What do we expect from the graduates? Again, hard skills, which is the knowledge of the topic, and soft skills. Soft skills, they have communication skills. They can work in a team. They become critical thinker and innovative. They are ready for the job. And they become entrepreneur. They are ready to run their own businesses. These are, again, this come from the Kuwait Vision 2035. So we are preparing our students to be ready for the job, and to be lifelong learner. This is very important topic. Now, learning does not stop while you get your degree.
Yes.
In order to be efficient worker in the future, while you're working, while you have a job, you should have a continuous learning, whether certificates, programs, training, important ones that can add to your values and knowledge and competencies to be efficient in your work. That's why you can be promoted easily, and you can become leader very quickly, and you become innovative. So when you are innovative, you can help your institution, whether government or your private. That's why you get salary increase. That's why you'll be wanted in different organizations. That's why you contribute to the knowledge economy of Kuwait.
That's really great, Professor. We need such an educational, thinking like this. As you mentioned, I liked the phrase you say, memorization killed education. And also the self-long learning, as you mentioned, to have a creative brain is not only for the field that they studied, only as you mentioned for their business, for their own business. So since we are now in the, let's say, at the end of the year and the final exams for the high school, so what is your biggest advice for our dear students?
This is very important. I talked a lot about this topic. The graduates of high school, they are ready to go to universities. Very important issue is to choose the major that you like, the major that you can give, the major that you think it will open up opportunities for you for the workplace. As you know, there are a lot of specialization that is not really needed nowadays in government and private organizations. So select the majors. Now, how do you select? How do you know this major puts you where or takes you where? There are a lot of resources available through the internet, through booklets, through asking friends. You have a lot of colleagues, friends, family. Read, understand, watch videos about the importance of such majors and specialties. That's why you can select your area of study very precisely, and choose also whether you want to study in Kuwait or outside Kuwait.
Yes.
These are important cultural and social issues that you need to consider. A lot of people, they go outside and then, you know, as you know. So select your major precisely, ask your friends, read about it. Not just ask, read, watch videos. There are a lot of resources available about this kind of specialization. And I wish the best for all graduates. I hope they succeed and they get good grades on the finals, and their families as well.
Hopefully, Professor, thank you so much for your golden advices and your generous information, and for being here with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Big thanks and appreciation to our dear guest, Professor Ahmed Al-Hanyan. He is a Dean College for Business Association, Professor of IT and Computer Information Systems. Don't go away, dear viewers. Let's have this time to break and then we'll move on.